All right, guys, we're talking number 21, Michigan. Moving on with the countdown, let's get into it. Jim Harbaugh enters his 6 year as head coach, and he's had some success in the NFL and college, but needs to prove himself still. That's kind of what his whole career has been in the NFL and college. He's gone to a Super Bowl, he's won a lot of games in college, but he's never won anything great. He didn't win the Super Bowl against his brother. He hasn't beaten Ohio State. He hasn't won a Big Ten title. He hasn't even won a New Year's Six bowl game, and that's something that I think really haunts him because I think he's proven to be a good coach, but he needs to do better. He needs to win those games to gain some respect. And then he needs to beat Ohio State. Like I said earlier, Ohio State, when you're in Michigan, you need to beat them. And he's obviously been unable to do that. And he's gotten a lot of criticism for it. And that gap is even widening from what it was. And that's something that's really tough to beat Ohio State now. And I think he's going to have trouble with that as long as he stays at Michigan. I think that gap is widening. Okay, let's get into the offense here. The offense wasn't as bad as what a lot of people thought. They averaged just over 400 yards and 32 points per game. They were just pretty inconsistent. They had to their moments, but they haven't really come up big in big games. Michigan offense for the most part. I think against Notre Dame last year they played pretty well. They had a really good run game, but overall they haven't come up big, and they need to do better on offense to get to that elite level, which I think they can get to, but it's getting harder year by year, I feel like. The QB, Joe Milton or Dylan McCaffrey, need to replace Patterson. Neither one has really much experience at all. The O-line has to replace a lot. Only Jalen Mayfield returns, but I think Andrew Stubler and Ryan Hayes are pretty good options to step in and be good right away on the O-line. Also, I like Nico Collins, receiver here. I'm showing you guys some highlights. Over a crossing route on play action pass, just takes it to the house there. On this play, he'll be shielding a corner, keeps his body right in front of the corner. I think it's a really impressive play. Knows his frame. I think somebody that is really big like him and knows how to use his frame to really have a lot of success against players is really good. And I think that whatever QB starts for Michigan this year needs to get the ball to Nico Collins. I really like Nico Collins, and you guys are lucky at Michigan to have him back. Okay, let's get into the defense here. They lose Khaleke Hudson and Jordan Glasgow to the NFL. Losing Josh Uche hurts as well. But Josh Ross is coming back at linebacker, and Cameron McGrone should be really good as well. The D line should be great with tackles Chris Hinton and Carlo Kemp, and the D ends Kwity Paye and Aiden Hutchinson should be really good. A ton of depth on the D line. I think that'll be the strongest part of your team this year. I think that Michigan has always been pretty strong on defense, particularly up front. Daxton Hill and Brad Hawkins are back at safety. They should be both really good this year, and they should lead the secondary along with corner Avery Thomas, who could be one of the best DBs in the Big Ten this year. And I like the defense a lot for Michigan. Michigan's always solid on defense. I just think they can do better against the bigger offenses, the good offenses. They just need to change their scheme a little bit, and I think they'll be good. Let's get into recruiting here. 13th nationally, second in the Big Ten. That's pretty good, but they need to do better to beat Ohio State. Ohio State has always recruited top five, and Michigan, I think, would like to get to that level, but they're not. And that's going to keep Michigan competitive. That's going to keep them 10-2 season, but they don't want that. They should want 11-1 undefeated season, beating Ohio State, and that's just not where they're at. And I think the recruiting is, like I said, good, but not at that level. And that's something that I think Michigan is going to have to improve if they want to get to the level they want to. The class is headlined by four-star receiver A.J. Henning. A.J. Henning I like a lot. He's a guy that he's ranked 101 in the country. Really fast receiver. So you just get on the outside and nobody can catch him from here. It just takes it to the house. He's a guy that I think can step in right away from Michigan and get a lot of playing time at receiver. Here's a play, makes a nice acrobatic catch, takes a hit there too, hangs onto the ball. He's not very tall, but I think he's a good He's a good option at receiver right away. I think, like I said, he's fast. I think he can break some tackles too. Okay, let's get into the schedule here. Washington starting off with a good game. I think this is going to be a close game down to the wire, but I think that Michigan will get the win here. I think Harbaugh will just have a little more experience than Washington's new head coach, and I just think that at the end of the day, Harbaugh will find a way to get the job done, and I think start out with a good win for the season. Hopefully that gives them some momentum for the rest of 2020. Going to Ball State, talent-wise, Michigan should beat Ball State. I don't think that Ball State has the players to be able to compete with Michigan's players no matter what the situation is. But, we'll see. Upsets happen. I think Michigan got the job done there. Same with Arkansas State, similar situation. I think Michigan, talent-wise, will just beat Arkansas State. Then we get into Wisconsin. They got blew up by Wisconsin last year, and I think it's going to be sort of the same. I don't know if it'll be as bad, but I think that it'll be a double-digit win for Wisconsin. This will be Michigan's first loss, and I think it'll be the first of back-to-back losses. Penn State's going to be really good this year. I like what they got coming back, and they lost last year to Penn State, and I think Penn State's going to be better than they were last year. I think Michigan's going to be worse than they were last year, and I think that's not a good combination. They do get them at home, but again, I don't know if there'll be any fans, so we'll see. I think Penn State will get the win there. I think it's Michigan State. Michigan State doesn't look too good this year. They got a new coach. They don't really have anybody that I'm looking at for Michigan State that I think is going to be great. I think Michigan will get the win. Minnesota, PJ Fleck has made them into a top 15 team in the country, top 20 team in the country, and I think they'll beat Michigan. I think Michigan's a good team, but I think Minnesota will be a little bit better. I think this will be a good game, but I think Minnesota will get the job done. Purdue, Rondale Moore is coming back. I know he was injured last year a lot, and you never know how Purdue will look with him. Because how they did against Ohio State that one game in 2018, that was really impressive, but I don't think they'll do anything like that again. I think Michigan will win pretty comfortably here. And they got a bye week going into Maryland. Maryland's a team that Mike Locksley, who knows, maybe in a couple years might be pretty decent, but I'm not really a believer in them, and especially not this year. I'm going to go with Michigan. Rutgers, same thing. Greg Schiano coming in. Who knows? Maybe in a couple years it might be good, but definitely not right away. They got too much rebuilding to do to be good this year. Michigan should beat them. Indiana. Indiana is an interesting team. I like Indiana a lot. Actually, I think they just missed out on my countdown based on my rankings. And Indiana is a team I think is going to give Michigan a lot of trouble. I think Michigan will get the win. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if Indiana wins this game. But I think Michigan will win in a close one. And then obviously Ohio State game. I don't have enough faith in Michigan to think that they can beat Ohio State. They haven't come close the last couple of years, and to predict them to beat Ohio State would just be crazy. Ohio State is just so much better. It seems like on every level, and Ohio State just needs to do more of the same this year, and I think they will. It'll be tough for Michigan to try and beat them this year. And overall, that means I got Michigan at 8-4, and that's actually the worst record I've had so far in my top 25. But I think they got a much tougher schedule than the teams that I ranked already. They got Washington, they got Wisconsin, Penn State, Minnesota, Ohio State. Indiana is a pretty decent team. I think that realistically they can even go 6-6, and I think the schedule is just really tough for them. I think they can be good, or maybe they go 9-3 or 10-2. I just think it'll be tough for them to do that. I'm going to give them an 8-4 record. We'll see. We'll see how they do. I just don't have enough faith to put them much higher than 21. But, they're Michigan. They have some talent, and we'll see how they look this year. Next time we'll be talking about number 20, Cincinnati.